Hi, I'm Victoria. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my October wrap-up. I actually just did a video recently where I reread some of my favorite books from like 6th grade-ish time period, and I'm not going to be talking about those ones in this video, but I'll link it down in the description if that is something that you want to check out. But aside from that, I also read 3 Omegaverse books. They were fine. I didn't love them, but I managed to finish them. The ones that I read were Sweetheart Part 1 by Marnie McKay, I Think Not by Sinclair Kelly, and Pack Choice by Hannah Hayes. Nothing was distinguishable to me about them, and I don't really have much to say. A lot of Omegaverse books feel really similar, but I read them as kind of like, my cat just sneezed. I read them as kind of like a comfort genre, a subgenre of romance, I guess. And I'm on a hunt to find one that I like as much as the one I own. It's Beatty and the Late Night Howlers. Madison Fox recommended this a long time ago, and I picked it up and ended up really liking it, but nothing that I've read in the subgenre I've enjoyed as much as I have that one. So yeah, I don't really have much to say about those. But aside from all of those, I've read 4 fantasy books, and then I've also started a new manga series that I'm really loving. Also, let me know kind of what y'all are wanting from my wrap-ups when it comes to the manga series. Should I talk about every manga that I read? Even though, like, you know, you can go through them so quick. That can make this like really long and stuff. Or should I just talk about like the ones that really impact me, either good or maybe good or bad? Yeah, so just let me know what you think. I guess I'll do that one first. The manga series that I found, it's called My Dress Up Darling, and I don't know, I think this one could be controversial a little bit because it is marked as like a mature series, and if you buy it at like Barnes & Noble, it has like the plastic wrap and stuff on it because it does have some risque, I guess, scenes, but it's honestly just the fan service. The plot itself doesn't have really anything like that, at least that I've gotten to so far, and it's like a few panels per volume, so it's really easy to just look over. But what it's about is this boy, goodness, I am terrible with names, Gojo. So he makes like traditional, I think they're porcelain dolls. It's like a family business, and he does like the painting, and I think he also makes clothes and stuff for them. And so that's something that he keeps really private because some kid when he was in elementary school would like bullied him, and so he thought that everyone would like look down on him for it, so he just keeps that part of himself private. And he also just kind of has secluded himself from everybody. And then we have this girl named Marin, who is like a very popular girl in school and is very social and fun, and just Gojo feels like is the opposite of him, I guess you could say. Well, one thing he's envious of is that she is very open about her love of video games and anime and stuff, which surprises him because he feels like that's something that a lot of people would look down on most people for, and he's kind of envious that he can't bring himself to be that open about the things he cares about. Then she ends up finding out that he knows how to sew and convinces him to help her make her cosplay outfits. And it's just their friendship and romance that develops from there. And it's just so cute. I love both of their personalities. I love seeing like everything that goes into making the outfits. Like it gets really into what all it takes to make cosplay outfits, and I love seeing Marin help Gojo open up and everything. It's a really wholesome series that I feel like with the ecchi scenes and stuff, I never would have thought that it would be as wholesome as it is, and I'm just really loving it. I've read the first 8 volumes so far, and I've bought volumes 9 and 10 and just haven't gotten to them yet, but yeah, I'm really excited to continue. But for regular book-wise, I read Blood Song by Anthony Ryan. This is about this boy, I think his name was like Aylin, and when he was a kid, his father dropped him off at this like military academy type of thing for the 6th Order. And basically this order, they're like the soldiers, I guess you could say, of the faith. So our main guy and a bunch of other kids, I think there's a handful that he grows up with in this school, are trained, and that's what we spend a lot of the book doing. And then we get into like more politics and stuff, and it was a good time. I don't think I'm going to continue with the series. It's a little too plot focused, not enough character focus. Like, it's just, here's some more stuff that's going on, and I just kind of wanted to get to know people more, to have more of like an emotional connection, and I didn't really get that. I have another book by Anthony Ryan, I think it's Pariah, I think, and I haven't gotten around to that yet, but I'm curious to see if I'll enjoy it or not, or like if it's something I end up keeping, because that is one I own a physical copy of. Just after seeing this writing style, I think I could enjoy it, but I don't know. The next book I read was Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. This is like a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and we're following this changeling girl. She was human, but she was raised in like the Fae world and grew up there. But then once she grew up and was an adult, she was told that she needed to return to the human world and place a blessing on a newborn child. But things don't quite go right. And then centuries later, we see this knight, and he has heard about a curse there and is there to break it and be like, you know, the heroic hero and everything. But our main character, Toadling, is doing everything she can to try to stop him. And it was a really, really cute story. It's a novella, it's super short. How many pages is this? 111 pages? So it's really quick. And it was really cute. I did have a good time. I really liked Toadling's personality. She was very sweet. So I would recommend this book for people. It was just missing something for me to make it like great. I don't know if it's because it was so short or what, but it was missing like a little bit of substance for me. I didn't feel connected to Toadling, I feel like, to the extent that I needed. And I think also because it was like, you know, a fairy tale retelling novella, it was such a kind of like simple story that while it was a fun time, it didn't like burrow itself into my heart or anything. So I think I'm gonna be unhauling this. I think that T. Kingfisher is one of those authors that I really enjoy her books, but they most of the time don't end up being ones that I love and like want to own, because I've read 5 of her books, I think, and of them, one for sure I've kept, and that's Swordheart. And then I'm considering if I want to own Paladin's Grace or not. That might be like a reread down the line or something. But the other ones are ones like I've enjoyed, but they just don't root in me like that. I don't know. I also read Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. I was really excited for this book. Out of all of his secret project books, this is the one that appealed to me the most. I'm also interested in reading Tress of the Emerald Sea. I own a copy of that one. But the other two, The Wizards something of London, I don't know. But, and then I think the 4th one is like The Sunlit Man or something. I know that the Wizard one doesn't interest me at all. I'd have to look into the Sunlit Man one, but I don't remember. I think I heard what it's about and it didn't jump out to me, but I'll have to look again. But the one I was most interested in was Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and I had a really good time with it. So we're following this girl named Yumi, and she's kind of like a priestess who can communicate with the spirits and like helps all of her people with the things that they need and stuff. Like, people basically worship her, and she is very uptight, I guess, and feels a heavy burden of her duty, like to take care of everyone, and everything in her life is done in like a ritual. Like, there's rituals for everything. The way she bathes, you know, like the way she eats, everything has to be done a specific way. She's always being watched. And so that's one character. And then we're also following Painter, and he appears to be from a different world. And in this world, it's like a huge city, and there's no sun here. It's like all dark all the time. And then there's these creatures called nightmares that are like these smoky things that attack people. And he is a painter, and painters are kind of like a night patrol. and when they see a nightmare, they paint them into something that allows them to be captured or like subdued. The magic systems in this world were really interesting to me. But then all of a sudden they're like thrown in each other's lives, and it's like in various ways, like body swapping and stuff, and they're trying to figure out, why did this happen? How can we help each other to fix whatever problems are in our world and everything? It's a very fun story when there's a decent amount of character development and stuff. It was a good time. Yumi's character drove me insane for so much of the book. Like, I get the purpose behind it. Like, I understood it. I just hated having to see her. Anytime she was being like super rigid, which was very often, I was rolling my eyes and getting annoyed. Like, I just didn't like that character type, even though it made sense. But I did grow to like her more as the story went on. But overall, I liked Painter more. World-wise, I wouldn't say either world was like my favorite type to see, but they are both interesting. One thing I will say is Brandon Sanderson, he has, in my opinion, I've only read 2 books by him so far, Warbreaker and Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. And in both of those, I've seen this. So I think it's just a thing that he excels at. And that is the endings, like plot twists and seamlessly like bringing everything together in the end, where you're like, whoa, how did I not see that? Even though it makes perfect sense. Like, he does a really good job at that kind of stuff. And so even though I wasn't really 100% on board throughout most of the book, I was enjoying myself. I just wasn't loving it. At the end, that whole like end chunk, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so good. So I was really impressed with that. But for overall experience, I don't think I could say I loved the book. So I don't think I'll be buying a copy of this one. The last book I finished in October is The Rise of Kiyoshi by F.C. Yee. It's an Avatar: The Last Airbender story following the story of Kiyoshi. I think she was like 2 avatars before Aang, if anyone watched that show. I loved that show. I still do. It's one of my favorite TV shows ever. I just think it was done so masterfully. And my friend actually wanted me to read these books of his, so I got to the first one finally, and I really enjoyed it. You can tell that one of the creators of the series was involved in the writing of the books, because the story really felt like it took place in that world. Like, it felt like I could see it being another series that they made, you know? Like TV series. I was actually surprised at how much I enjoyed it, because things like that where it's like, here's a book to go with a TV show that you loved, you know? I don't go into those kind of things thinking that they're gonna be good. In fact, most of the time, I wouldn't even pick them up. But I decided to give it a shot, and I actually really enjoyed it. Kiyoshi is really strong, like character-wise. And obviously, you know, she's the Avatar, so she either is or is going to be physically or like power-wise strong. There was political nuance though, and I really enjoyed some of the side characters. And there was a plot twist that like really threw me. So overall, I was having a good time. Not exactly character development as in like they're not growing, but character development in like something about the writing and feeling like I'm with the character. I feel like that was missing just the smallest amount, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. There's nothing I can pinpoint. I just felt like there could have been something more to connect me. Or maybe I was just having a picky month because I seem to be struggling overall. I don't know. But I really enjoyed it. I'm going to continue because there is a second book. What is it called? The Shadow of Kiyoshi. I'm going to continue. I just don't think that I'm gonna buy my own copies unless the second book is like amazing. But yeah, if you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender or even just Legend of Korra or whatever, anything in that world, and enjoyed it, I would recommend this series. And then there's also 2 following another one, Yang Chen, The Legacy of Yang Chen, The Dawn of Yang Chen. There's these 2 as well. I know that there's also like graphic novels as well, but there's a lot of those and I don't think I'll ever get around to reading those. But yeah, so those are all the books that I read last month. With the ones that I didn't really go into detail of, I read 10 books, but I also had 9 DNFs. I tried reading some of the popular romance books that are out right now that I've heard a lot about on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and I kept getting bored. And so I would be enjoying myself and get about halfway and then lose the drive to continue. I don't know if these books were just too long or what, but I read Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton, Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, and The Dark King by Gina L. Maxwell. And all 4 of those, the same thing happened. But I also DNF'd Dark Harvest by Norman Partridge. This one I tried to read for like Halloween time and it was just not my vibe at all. The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Adier, I think is how you say that. This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar. This was one that I was really sad about because premise-wise, I was pretty interested, but the writing style, like the artistic element, I guess, that they use, it wasn't working for me. I could not get into the book at all just based on how it was written. And then The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd Jones and Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. Masters of Death was my most recent DNF and I picked that one up because I'd heard really good things about it. So I gave it a shot, even though I should have just known that it wasn't quite going to be my taste. I think it was just a little too modern for me, I guess. Every once in a while, there's ones like that the modernness, the urban, you know, our day type of things, it doesn't bother me. But then, so I give these books shots and then it just reaffirms my thinking of like, yeah, that's not really my style. But since there are some that I end up liking every once in a while, I keep doing it. But those are all my DNFs. And then I have made things so hard for myself this month because y'all know I did like a fall TBR thing and I don't know why I did this, but I saved all of the bigger books for the end. So I have 4 left of the 10 TBR books that I planned for the fall. I have part 1 of The Eye of the World from the Wheel of Time series, part 1 of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, Peace and Turmoil by Elliot Brooks, and The Desert Prince by Peter V. Brett. I don't know why I saved them all for the end. I won't be able to read all of these, I don't think. Maybe if like I really try, but I probably won't, knowing myself, especially with the holidays and everything. I don't know. I'm gonna have to prioritize and like pick an order and go in that order. And if I pick one, it's gonna be Elliot Brooks's book because I have wanted to read this for so long and I'm really excited to see what she's done. Especially, you know, like as a now booktuber who dreams of writing a book one day, like for her to have done it and as someone whose tastes I have similarities with, I'm curious to see what she's written. So that'll be my first priority, I guess. And then I don't know where I would go from there. I guess whichever ones look easiest to get through. But this isn't all I have to read. These are the ones that I'm supposed to have read by the end of this month. So I guess these need to be the priority. However, I also have those Avatar books that my friend loaned to me and I've already had them for a couple months and I've only read the first one recently and there's still 3 more to go. So I need to be doing that too. And then I'm also doing a buddy read. Yeah, it's a lot because that's 4, 7, 8 books right there, but they're all bigger, or like a lot of them are bigger books. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get lucky and actually get it done. But yeah, that's everything I read last month and some of my plans for this month. Since I DNF so much, feel free to let me know if I made a mistake with DNFing any of my books. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!